So the rehashing of Saquon Barkley being the number 2 pick is being argued once again as Giants fans. And people like Fireside Sports, somebody like Mike Too Nice, who's preached this since 2018. Same with Captain Negative of Bleeding Big Blue, and any other Giants fan that feels this way will say, I am vindicated. I told you, we have so many holes on this team. We should have traded back. Saquon wasn't the pick of 2. It's a devalued position. And most Giants fans would go at this and say, listen, it's not a devalued. It is a devalued position, but Saquon was so talented. They still have it wrong, even feeling vindicated. And I can disprove all their arguments very simply. The Giants weren't trying to win and rebuild at the same time. They were trying to win in 2018. That is reality. Now, most of these people would go out and blame Dave Gettleman. I'm not. I'm going to go straight to the head of the snake. Ownership. Ownership wanted to win in 2018. That's why they hired who they hired. If you want to get mad at anybody, get mad at ownership for wanting to win in 2018 and not realizing they should have rebuilt the team. All these arguments these people make that Saquon not being the number 2 pick would make sense if you were a team rebuilding. Yes, the running back position is devalued because it's not that important then. You're right when you say we should have traded back to gain more value. But you're arguing a rebuild. It's not what ownership wanted to do. And your argument then holds no water. Because I don't know about you, but if my boss tells me to do something, I got to do it, like it or not. And that's what happened here. Now, obviously, ownership knows the colossal mistake they made, and that's why they made changes in 2019 and began the rebuild in the 2019 offseason, a la Daniel Jones. But to argue this point a little bit further, a lot of people like to set up their trade back in the draft by assuming the draft order would have remained the same, or people would have picked the same players had the Giants moved back from 2 with the Jets instead of the Indianapolis Colts, and the Giants get a similar package of picks, or the exact same package of picks. That couldn't be further from the truth. Here's what would have most likely actually would have happened. Giants move back to 6. Jets take Sam Darnold. Indy, a lot of people would assume, take Saquon Barkley. No, they would have taken Quentin Nelson. Still. Now, it comes down to, would Cleveland pick Denzel Ward over Saquon? I think they would have taken Saquon. Denzel Ward would have either been the choice at 5 or 6. Denzel Ward would have been the choice. Now the Broncos still have a choice. Do they take Denzel Ward, or do they take the pass rusher Nick Chubb out of, was it Wisconsin or Nebraska? But you guys know what I'm talking about. The other Nick Chubb. Pass rusher for the Broncos now. They probably still would have taken Nick Chubb. Now, what are the Giants left with? Take a quarterback or Denzel Ward? What's your argument then? There isn't. This argument, the butterfly effect essentially comes into play. And all these hypothetical picks that Giants fans like to say they would have gotten is completely and farther from the truth. The fact of the matter is, your anger that you take out on Dave Gettleman is misplaced. Right or wrong, you don't like his moves, it's misplaced, because you should be swearing ownership up and down and not Dave Gettleman. Because they're the ones who hired him. They're the ones that have been part of every Giants debacle and has turned a once pride franchise into the laughing stock of the NFL. And why is now Saquon still the right pick at 2? Well, quite frankly, he was the most talented player. And if you're going to have this attitude of winning, right or wrong, now, if you come at it from that sense, it makes more sense to pick Saquon if you think you're 1 or 2 pieces away and not in rebuild mode. So yes, Saquon was the right pick at 2 because they thought they were a couple pieces away. It doesn't matter if you were right in hindsight, because in reality, if you were Giants GM, you would have made the same move, because picking the best player available or the most talented player in the draft would the most sense because that's the player that would have most impact on your team if you felt your 2017 season was such a fluke season, which the Giants thought. That's why they acted the way they did in 2018 despite the limited cap room. So when you want to argue a rebuild, don't take it out of context, because if you were Giants GM, quite frankly, you wouldn't have been able to make the same moves. Either way, it's been OGR Sports, and I'll catch you on the next vid.